This video looks at reimburse inventory. We call it Gorilla _reimburse inventory. Make sure to check out this documentation on the page under tutorials and videos, docs, and examples. That will bring up this page. We have lots of example formulas, so you could just retype the same thing. Don't copy and paste because the syntax on the website, the font, doesn't translate well to Google Sheets. So you want to manually retype it in if possible. These are the examples, the syntax descriptions, the different types of attributes that you can use, like for the period, the different types of preset periods that we have, as well as the different inventory reimbursement reasons. And this is going to be the most important part because there's specific inventory codes that have different meanings. And the majority are going to fall into either code E or M. And these are the ones that you are very eligible to get your money back. So anytime something comes up under code E or M, this is what you want to look for in your reports, and then create a ticket for seller support. Going into this template that I use in the videos, one formula pretty much generated this entire list of data for this year. I'm going to delete this and show it to you again from the beginning. Equals Gorilla _reimburse inventory. I'll select this one. The drop-down list will show and highlight the attribute or the filter that you are currently on. So right now it's highlighted and bolded in green. So the period is going to be, I'm going to do this year. Now I could type this year inside quotation marks, or I can make it dynamic and then select this cell which already has the words this year. This is a drop-down box. If I click this, you'll see a drop-down box, and it's pretty much a Google Sheets feature where I've created a drop-down list in a cell of all the different time periods that I've entered into in column B already. And that way, if I want to make this formula dynamic, I could do this. So I've entered this formula and just entered this year, just the time period, and it's going to bring in every single inventory reimbursed for this year for this specific account. And if I change the time period or the preset time period from this year to say last 7 days, you can see how it makes it convenient. So it makes everything dynamic where this info is now updated for the last 7 days as opposed to the last year. So June 22 to towards the end of June at the moment. Looking at the data, the way it works is it's going to dump the reimbursed inventory report from your Seller Central account into this. It's going to give you all the information like the SKUs, the transaction IDs, the FC IDs, the country, the state, etc. You get the quantity of what was reimbursed, and you'll see, for example, I just noticed this one. This is 2. So somebody purchased this 2, and it was reimbursed. And then the disposition is going to be whether it's sellable, defective. So the ones that you want to look for are, again, E and M. And by default, right now you see M, EE, MM, etc., etc. Now, it doesn't mean that everything is, you can request a reimbursement for everything. For example, these ones are warehouse damage. So you definitely can get these reimbursed. The other ones that are sellable in sellable condition, Amazon is not going to reimburse you. But if it's still in a sellable condition, but it hasn't been reconciled over a certain period, then you can request them to reimburse you for that. There are some items, for example, in different reasons. So the different codes, E and M, there's a whole bunch in Seller Central, and we have the link. I believe it's down. It's on the page, and we'll have it updated if it's not there. But what you can do is you can also filter to use different codes. So for example, let's start this again. So let's say last 7 days, comma, semicolon if you're in Europe, comma, and then the next one is the filter. Do I want to search for a specific list of SKUs, or do I want to show for the whole account? I want for the whole account, so I'm going to put a space or just leave it empty, comma, and then the reason. So the reason is going to be the different codes. Now, by default, it's going to look up, as I said, E and M if you leave it completely empty. But let's say I want to look up, say, F. So actually, I have to, since it's a letter, I have to put in quotation marks. And F is for inventory found. So Amazon may have lost it, but then they found it and then they put it back into your account, right? So F, and then if I do comma. Now I can also filter down even further by, if I want to only pull up the ones where it's unreconciled. So if unreconciled shows like 1 or 2, as long as it's not 0, it's telling me that this specific unit hasn't been reconciled yet. So that's where I could do true. Oops, for true you want to, it's just a binary, so you don't want to put it inside quotation marks. So if it's true, it's only going to show me the ones where it says 1. If I did false, it's only going to pull up all the ones where the unreconciled column shows up as 0. And then let me do, okay, so going back to true, I'm going to finish this formula off like this because I don't have a specific start and end date. And you'll see that now I've pulled up all the, over the last 7 days, I've pulled up all the reimbursed inventory on this account, showing the reason F, where it has not been reconciled yet. Okay, so that's where you see that only the reasons F, and unreconciled shows that it's 412111. Okay, so this is how you can actually filter down and really get granular. Now, if I wanted to pull up M, so on Seller Central, it's telling me that M is for inventory misplaced. So Amazon has lost the inventory. I'm going to change this to this year. So let's see, this year, so that I can get more data points. Now I have a good bunch of line items, and all of the reasons are M. Okay, and then I see that none of these ones are reconciled. And I'm going down the bottom here and say, oof, there's like 9 that are not reconciled yet, all from California for a specific SKU from LAX. So by knowing this, I can see that there's definitely some issues with the fulfillment center LAX 9 in California, where they've got a bunch of different quantities and SKUs, much more than usual. And although some are sellable and have been reconciled, a lot are still unreconciled. And so this is where I could create a ticket to Seller Central and say that, hey, for this specific date, for these SKUs at this location, etc., this many have been reconciled, but 3 has still not been reconciled. And this other one has been reconciled, but I'm still missing 9 reconciliations, so please reimburse me. And they will then get into it. They will either find it or they will reimburse you for that inventory. So this is how to use it. You can also do the inverse, where if there's something that has been reimbursed, then you can also claim and try to fight and argue that back, where it's saying this was not a properly reimbursed inventory. For example, this one says customer damage, but maybe it wasn't customer damage, but more like a customer didn't include a specific part. So they purchased a 2-piece combo, like they purchased 2 laptops and they only returned 1 and claimed that it was damaged, whatever. You could say that no, that's incorrect, and then fight it. So this is the type of information that you need on hand to be able to get into Amazon system and be able to understand the whole reimbursement process.